community conversation participants and our viewers on YouTube Live. In Maryland, alternative education refers to schools and programs that provide a non-traditional pathway to support students accessing instruction needed to complete graduation requirements. The goals for alternative education programs in Maryland are to provide the time and the space for students to recover from experiences that have negatively impacted their ability to learn. Also, to develop and rehearse remediation skills and strategies that will allow them to succeed within their comprehensive school environment. And also to return to their original comprehensive school where they can benefit from a more diverse social, emotional, and instructional opportunity. Most students who attend alternative education programs only do so for a short period of time when they need additional support to get back on track and graduate from their comprehensive schools. MSDE.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
We're in the middle of an introduction, so just hold on and we're asked questions, okay?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Can you put your name in your phone? Yeah. MSDE supports the alternative education programs by leading and facilitating professional learning communities for administrators to ensure evidence-based practices are utilized in alternative education schools across all districts. Currently, there are 43 alternative education programs with an enrollment that has been declining with only 1,700 students last school year. Tonight, we will hear from students and school leaders from across the state about their experiences in alternative education programs and listen to their ideas on how to better support the students as they work towards their graduation requirements and on to their secondary goals. Superintendent Choudhury, would you like to share opening remarks?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Getty. Thank you guys for making the time to hang out with us this evening. I really appreciate you guys making the time. You know, I often say one of my favorite moments all year is attending graduations of students who have experienced what I like to say alternative ways of schooling. It's schooling that's alternative. It's not our students. And so oftentimes people forget that. It's the schooling experience that's alternative, right? Our schools should be designed around varied life experiences. And I often like to say is you guys have the best stories when you graduate. You have the stories that let us know, you know, how you know, despite various experiences in life, and not all of it is negative. People often think it's negative. Not all of it is negative. It could be work. It could be family. It could be so many things, right? You're able to still push through, get your high school diploma, get your GED, go on, and you have dreams and aspirations. You might want to go to college. You might want to go off to industry. And I think, you know, one of the things I'm looking forward to do is to have that conversation around ensuring that our students who are attending alternative schools and programs, right? It's about that experience that helped you be successful. And these experiences can also happen within our regular high schools as well. And it does not have to become this whole separate experience every time. And so I'm excited to hear from you. And one of the things I often say in all of these roundtables is speak your truth. And so definitely make sure you speak your truth. And, you know, one of the things that the state board and I are often in is in the world of policy. And so we get to set policy, which creates conditions for people to be able to do things or not do things, right? And so when you give your recommendations and your thoughts and share your stories, think of it in form of like, well, what could this look like if this was allowed more at scale and can work well? And so I really appreciate you guys making the time. Looking forward to the conversation, and then we'll make sure that if you have any follow-up after this, we'll make sure that my team stays in contact with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Choudhury, for those remarks. Now we're ready to meet our participants. Please introduce yourself by sharing your name, your county, and your program. We're going to start with the students first. Name, county, and program. Adriana, would you like to go first?
Hi, my name is Adriana, and I'm from Allegheny County, and I'm from the Restart program at Eckerd.
Thank you. How about Heidi?
Hi, I'm Heidi. I'm do I say my school name?
Oh, you don't have to.
Oh, okay. From Baltimore City. What program am I in?
You're in the Achievement Academy at Harbor City.
Achievement Academy, a Harbor City program.
Okay, good job. How about Miguel?
My name is Miguel. I'm from Baltimore County, and my thing is Gainesville Center for Alternative Studies.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I'm from Charles County, and I'm in the State of Automotive program.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all our students tonight. Thank you. Oh, Eugenia?
No, I have two students on. So Stephen
Okay.
Jones and Mayana Burrows.
Oh, they are here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Stephen, go ahead.
I am Stephen Jones. I'm from Baltimore City, and I'm currently attending Excel Academy.
Okay, and Mayana? Eugenia, who else did you say was here?
Mayana, but I believe she's having technical difficulties. You called her. I believe she's having technical difficulties.
Okay, all right. Are there any other students?
Yes, I have a student here.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Genesis. I am from PG County and I go to non-traditional program, North.
okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the school leaders. You can share your name, your county, and your role in your program and the name of your program. Starting with Dion.
Good evening. I am Dion Allen. I'm with the Achievement Academy at Harbor City with Baltimore City Public Schools. I am the ESOL teacher at the school. So I'm the teacher of record for the ESOL students.
Okay, thank you. Eugenia.
I am Eugenia Young, proud principal, Excel Academy High School, Baltimore City Public Schools.
All right, thank you. John Klug.
Good evening. My name is John Klug. I'm the principal of Catonsville Center for Alternative Studies in Baltimore County. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Carl Raday.
Good evening. My name is Carl Raday. I'm the principal at the Meadowwood Education Center, also in Baltimore County Public Schools.
Lou D'Ambrosio.
Good evening. I'm Lou D'Ambrosio, principal of alternative programs at the Robert D. Steedham Center in Charles County, Maryland, and I'm very happy to be here this evening.
Thank you. Kevin Kintop.
Hi, my name is Kevin Kintop. I'm the program director of Arise Academy in Queen Anne's County. I am happy to join you tonight. I did want to let you know there is another student from our county who is on the call. His name is Jabari.
Okay, all right. I'll circle back around to Jabari. And Rachel King Kirkpatrick.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel King Kirkpatrick. I'm currently the principal of Antietam Academy at Washington County Public Schools.
Nice to have you. Thank you. Tim Morrow.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Morrow. I am the coordinator of student and school support in Washington County Public Schools and the former principal at Antietam Academy, and also the president-elect of the National Alternative Education Association.
Oh, nice to have you. Any other adults that are here?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Danielle Brooks. I'm the coordinating supervisor at Non-Traditional Program North here in Prince George's County.
Thank you, Danielle.
You're welcome.
How about Jabari? Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Jabari. I'm from Queen Anne's County, and I go to Arise Academy.
Thank you, Jabari. Nice to have you.
Good evening. My name is Dwayne Williams, principal of the Homewood Center in Howard County Public Schools. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Dwayne.
And good evening. My name is Travis Mister. I am the coordinator of the Calvert County Alternative School in Calvert County Public Schools. Ethan, your turn, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, my name is Ethan DeVore. I'm from Allegheny County Public Schools. I'm the assistant supervisor of school discipline and alternative programs and the administrator here at the Restart program, which is an acronym for rehabilitating every student through academics, resources, and therapeutic services. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Okay, it looks like almost everybody's here. Great. Okay. Thank you for introducing yourselves. Before we transition to our questions, I'd like to go over a few things. We are live streaming this community conversation on YouTube. And when you're not speaking, please stay muted and use the chat function if we are running short on time and there are additional comments you would like to add. As we transition into our questions, we look forward to hearing about your experiences and your ideas. As you share, we ask that you avoid mentioning teachers, school staff, and students to protect their privacy. We want to hear from our YouTube viewers as well. Please use the YouTube live chat to ask questions and make comments throughout the discussion. We will try to address those towards the end of the community conversation. I'm going to start with a question for the students. And I want to tell the students that I travel around the state with the board president, and whether we are in a conference with several hundred people, whether I am in a central office having a meeting with a superintendent or touring a career and tech center, whatever the setting is, one of the things that I have observed in the past year is that districts listen to students in different ways. And this is your moment to really make a difference, because there are so many grown-ups here, administrators, the superintendent of the state, me as a board member. We are listening to you. So when you think about these questions, give it some thought and tell us, your honest answers. So the first question to the students: what are the components in your alternative education program that supports you and makes you feel successful? Somebody want to answer?
I'll answer.
Okay, go ahead, Adriana.
Being in a smaller environment and having the support to be one-on-one with a teacher.
So it's gotten you out of a large school and it makes you feel more comfortable to be in a smaller setting.
Yes.
Good job. Okay. How about Stephen?
Yes. What makes me feel special at my high school is knowing that there are teachers and staff who will break their backs to help the students at Excel Academy. The teachers are very kind and they're always ready to help the students with anything, whether it's school related or not.
Good. We had a presentation where we learned that dedicated staff is key to your success. Any other student?
For me, it's got to be the one-on-one staff, the mentors, and the small school environment.
Good.
I agree with them on the small environment. It definitely gives you more opportunity to learn because it's just a smaller environment and an easier way of learning.
Do you think it presents less distractions for you?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Genesis.
I also agree with all of them because especially for me, since I'm a hard of hearing kid, for me it's hard to focus when there's like a lot of kids. But in my school it's awesome how all the teacher, which is a smaller group of classmates, it's just they can focus on you when you need help. And it's just better with the smaller classroom, knowing that the teachers and the staff will help you get on your class on time, get your work done. So
All right, thank you. Sometimes in the alternative education programs, there might be some barriers or things that sort of get in your way to your success. Have you ever experienced something, or you want to bring that to the attention of the school leaders, that there are barriers that make you less successful?
I would say basically being late to class would always be being absent, being late is always a barrier for me because sometimes I can't get to school on time because it's like a little of a distance, and also because like there are some things that I kind of like don't understand, but I always try my hardest.
So being on time is important to your success.
That's right.
Okay. All right, any other student? Adriana looks like she has something to say.
Two barriers that I had so far is bus transportation, because the only time I will miss school is if it's my bus. If my bus doesn't come or if there's not no driver. But at the end of the day, it still gets excused. But that's a barrier. Another one is reacting off emotion.
So when you're at your alternative school, do they support you in learning behavior issues and strategies to overcome those issues?
Yes, definitely, because I've grown a lot since I've came to the school off my emotions and how I used to act in my old school and why I got there. So they definitely helped me.
Good job. Good job. All right, the last part of the question for the students is, have you gone through a process that has helped you identify some goals that you would like to have for after high school?
I would say for myself, yes. Ever since I got into that school, it helped me think a lot what I want to do and what I want to be. Right after I get out of high school, they got me thinking of going to college. So, and thanks to all the teachers and staff, they all encourage me, they all support me there, and they have been the best to me. And if I wouldn't gone there, I'll probably not gone to college and not continue high school.
Heidi, are you a senior?
It's kind of complicated.
Okay, we'll let that go. Anybody else?
For me,
go ahead.
I would say yes, because when I got there, I didn't really want to know what I wanted to do yet. So the staff supported me in applying to colleges, applying for scholarships, stuff like that. So after this, I want to go to college and study psychology and get a PhD in that.
Wow,
The staff has been very supportive of my decision, and they've been guiding me through most of it.
great goals. Good job, Miguel. Anybody else want to talk about their future goals?
Yes.
I agree with all of them. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay. After high school, I plan on attending BCCC because of their free tuition, and I plan on majoring in music until I receive my bachelor's degree. After that, I will be enrolling in Coppin State University, which I'll continue to study music, and I'll add a double major onto my schedule. I'll be studying music and psychology, so that after college, I'll be able to, further my career in helping and being a therapist to all people.
Great goals, Stephen. Elizabeth?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree with Heidi a lot. I think the staff helped me a lot with the college process because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with college, and I still don't. But my staff helped me a lot with saying that that's okay, that I don't have to know. But I had multiple people continuously helping me with the whole process along all the way. So I'm really thankful for that.
I think a lot of students mistakenly think that it's a clear shot from high school to college to career. But for most people, if you talk to them about their pathway, it's more like a squiggly wiggly road and a lot of detours and trying out things and regrouping and deciding something new before you really achieve that college degree. So don't get discouraged when your pathway is a little bit wiggly.
It's a little wiggly.
All right, any other student comments?
Can I add a comment?
Sure, go ahead.
I wish the student can go first.
No, you're okay.
Okay. So being a deaf of hard of hearing has been hard, but ever since going to that school, they have like supported me through a lot of many things. They have treated me like with respect and normal, saying that, we're just because I'm deaf, we're not more different than any other kids. And even though sometimes there are some deaf kids that don't know what they want to be in the next step in college, we're always gonna know what we want in life. But our deafness does not include what means some of the things what people thinks of us. So like thanks to my staff and my teachers, they have been the best to me, have been the kindness. And so I just want to for my deaf community. I just want to throw it out there, and I wanted to thank all my staff and my teachers and even my principal.
All right, thank you so much.
I would like to give a shout out to my principal too, Miss Brooks. The support she has given me has made me feel like I can achieve in anything and manage everything by being and staying focused. And a career goal that I had was to go to college for social work and become an entrepreneur for my own clothing line, hair and lashes.
Wow, that's a lot of ambition, 2 things. Good job. All right, we're going to switch focus now to the school leaders. What my question is what strategies have had the most impact to improve student outcomes, such as graduation, attendance, academic coursework, and preparation for college and career?
Guess I'll get us started.
Thanks.
I would say one of the biggest things in Howard County that we've been able to take advantage of is giving students the experiences of them being able to visit and see places of career choices. So believe it or not, we actually took a trip last school year where they stayed in Howard County and just went to the warehouse, the distribution center, where they were able to meet with everyone who has an intricate part in the school system and all of the opportunities and jobs that lie right within the school system. And believe it or not, so many students came back feeling so good about making a connection with someone in a different part of the school system. We had a student who loves computers, and he was able to sit with the IT guy to just see, like, this is what you do, this is how we program. We had students that met with grounds, students that love to do that yard work, students who met with the distribution center. So just them being able to see the actual job happening and then seeing themselves in it, I think was a huge one for us.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
And I believe you, Dwayne. When you say it, I believe you.
Thank you.
So I know one thing that we do down here in Calvert County, our program is housed in our career and technical education facility. So we do have a lot of industry that comes to talk to our students that are in those programs. So what we have done the past 2 or 3 years is infuse our alternative education students into that process, whether it be the job fair, interviewing skills, whether it be our Skills USA, Framework Friday stuff when it talks about soft skills, time management, communication, being on time, those types of things that employers are looking for. And then we also ask our employers that come into our building to talk to our alternative education students about ways they can get into those fields through college or directly to just straight to industry. So all these big businesses, so to speak, have multiple ways and multiple avenues for students to access them. So we have them discuss that process with our alternative students, depending on whether their goals are college or career, and career, so to speak.
I'm going to take it a little bit different direction, because before we can get to where you guys, the things that you're saying, which we agree with, the most effective strategy we've had over here at Queen Anne's has been the development of the relationships that go on with our students. They have multiple reasons why they wind up in an alternative program. And I love the description at the beginning. They are good kids. They're good students. But there was just something that made it that they weren't successful. And so coming to our environment, that recover piece that you spoke about in the beginning is really important. We have to establish a relationship where they trust us. We have to establish a relationship where they're going to want to work with us and believe us. And for many of our students, they don't have that at home, or they haven't had that in the past, or even at their home schools. Not that it's not there, but they haven't felt it. So that relationship and that social emotional piece has been the most important part of our program. Good quality teachers who believe in that relationship in the classroom, all the way up to leadership who believes that relationship's important. Because once they trust us, then we can go to what you guys are saying. And we've had students that we've been able to say, what do you mean you haven't thought about college? Chesapeake College is right down the road. Here, let me show you how to fill out the FAFSA forms. Here, let us show you how you can apply there. Here, you know what? You're very interested in heating and air conditioning. We know folks, let's get you in contact with someone. But it's not until that relationship and that trust and their walls are down so that they can see a future for themselves. A lot of them don't see what that future is. So that relationship and that social emotional part is the #1 strategy that's helped our students.
Yes.
If I could add on to Kevin, I'll be first in line, because I think that's probably a common thread among all of us leaders of alternative ed is, and even the students that are here, and I appreciate you guys being here, because to hear it from students outside of Allegheny County that you're saying about the relationships and you talk about the small classrooms and sizes. I think that's what stands out the most, but really what makes that work is the mentorship of the teachers, the relationships that you create with the adults, And that's absolutely been our bread and butter, is to create relationships, to get students to trust and to, be trusted. And so when that happens, then the academic piece falls into place. As Kevin said, and I don't see Miss Kim Buckheit here, but I have to credit her with sort of the motto, I guess you would call it, of recover, remediate, and return. And that's really been fundamental here at Restart. So as students are recovering, they build a relationship with us during the remediation portion of their stay here, which is generally pretty short. They will learn those character traits of integrity, responsibility, discipline, how to get to school. If you can't get to school, call somebody who can get you there, those sorts of things. And then the eventual return to the homeschool, where they can hopefully get right back in, because we try to parallel here at the alternative school what the comprehensive homeschools are doing.
I would say too, for us, when you talk about the relationship piece, we, before the pandemic, and then definitely after we returned to school after the pandemic, added advisory to be able to have that, the relationship building piece, but also to have the on track to graduation check-in piece. And so I think for us, really having multiple times throughout the week where students can check in with their mentors, to talk about their personal issues, not only personal issues, the academic issues that they may have, whether they need to sign up for credit recovery, whether they need to go to coach class. So we really try to utilize advisory to really kind of, as a strategy, to really drill home several initiatives that the district wanted us to pursue with our students, but also to maintain that check-in and that mentorship that we know is key for our students to stay on track.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Absolutely. That is essential, building those relationships. Our students need that. They need to feel safe, wanted. And that was the biggest issue, safety. We've dealt with a lot of trauma, in our district, and we had to address that. And, that advisory helps, the check-ins. We also have established some clubs and groups specific to the students' needs, not something we came up with. We did surveys, because unlike some of the other alternative programs, our students stay and they finish with us, and we want them to finish with us, right? So that has been essential, and providing them the things that they need, basic needs, and that helps our students, to succeed.
Like everyone has said prior to me with advisory and relationship building, a big push is the personalization of our program. And I think it has a large impact on our attendance and how we meet the students where we are. We have the conversation with them. We offer flex schedules to get them in school around their work schedule, parenting schedule, so forth and so on. So attendance is our big push, while building those relationships during advisory, doing all the things, great things that everyone else has said, but that flex scheduling has definitely helped with attendance.
Yeah, I'd like to echo everything basically everybody said. In addition, the mentoring programs are so important. I feel like that is one of the key components of our program, having an adult to turn to who isn't your teacher, but can be a sounding board to do a check-in with in the morning and the afternoon. It helps the students feel connected, safe, supported throughout their days. So that is a huge program that, that it sounds like a lot of our schools provide, yet in the comprehensive schools, it just isn't possible in a lot of ways to provide it down to that level. And then along with that, providing the experiences for the students that they may not get in other schools. Our school has an adventure education program where we take the students kayaking, canoeing, biking. Miguel went on a bike ride today on the NCR Trail in Hunt Valley all day. And that's great, exposing students to things that, many of our students aren't chosen to go on field trips in their home schools, and they're not chosen to be on the Student Government Association or the Principals Council. And providing those experiences build self-confidence. And we always encourage our students to, when they get back to their schools, get involved with these clubs, with these extracurriculars, surround yourself with positive influences. So that is one of the things that we try and instill in all of our students. The other thing is mentioning the flexibility that some of the other principals have mentioned, and the students. If the bus doesn't show up, what do you do? Do you lose a day of school? So we encourage our teachers to post all of their work online through our Schoology platform. So, attendance is spotty for some for various reasons, as we know. So being able to access that work while they're at home, they can literally access all the course materials, message their teachers throughout the day, take the assessments online, and that helps them stay in pace with the class. And then we're also piloting a distance learning program this year to add greater flexibility for our students. So we have, 20 or 30 students that learn from home, kind of like we did during the pandemic, Google Meet, face-to-face with the teacher, but they're home raising children. They're home because, they have anxiety, to deal with, or they have other illnesses to deal with, yet they can still come in and partake in our field trips, our college trips, or they can choose to take certain classes from home online and come into school the next day and take certain classes in the building. So providing programs like that, that kind of flexibility has just, we're just getting that piece off the ground right now. But I feel like that's part of the future of education is like, you don't necessarily need to be in a building every day to get what you need academically. So providing options like that. I loved what one of the principals said about having a close connection to the CTE programs, to the trades. And that is something I foresee, hopefully coming along in the future because, we can take our students to a trade school down the road. We can take them to the community college that offers some of those trade type opportunities. But I would love to see that in the building and have a closer connection, right? To just take those students right there. Not all of our students are college bound. I do believe they all have the potential, but we need to make other options available to them as well. Students who like to work with their hands. It's basically just catering to their needs, like many of us have said. That reduces the barriers and increases the success.
One of the several of the things that we're working on this year at Antietam, we redid our schedule to include a period that we're calling home base for habits of mind. And so 2 days a week, we really focus on the SEL, direct instruction around SEL. And so we talk about those skills for conflict resolution, personal relationships, and all of those things that some of our kids struggle with. And then we have 1 day during home base is focused on college and career readiness. So we use our school program, Naviance, as one of the resources we use. We've had several colleges already this year come in and talk to our kids about their programs, some career schools. And then the last day of the week, we call it Community Day during home base. And this is where my staff, we share our passions with kids, like what we like to do outside of school, and kids share that with us. And then, so out of that, kids are spending time in the weight room with the teacher who likes to do weights or taking a walk in the park nearby for nature walks. We've also built a community garden. So our students are involved in building that, laying it out. We're adding on to it. So we're doing some planning in, so kids are involved in that. Some kids just chill out and read books during that period or play games or do puzzles, but it's really focused. It's important. I've heard and hear relationships, rapport, connecting with the students. And then outside of home base, we've really focused this year on what I call watering up our instruction and what our learning experiences so that they're relevant to what students are interested in. And they're really super focused on reading and writing skills, getting those up to speed so kids can communicate their ideas more effectively. So I think both of those things together, we're seeing a lot of growth in our students and kids wanting to be at school and engaging and learning.
So what I hear is to be a really successful program, you build the outline structure of a program, and then you invite the students in, but then you listen to them and they contribute to the ideas that grow your program into exactly what they need to be successful. And that was my preface to the questions, was the differences I see as I travel around the state about the student voice. And I think especially in an alternative education program, the student voice has to be so valuable so that you're sure you're meeting them exactly what they need. Can you tell me a little bit that's for the school leaders, what some difficult barriers are to graduation attendance success?
Well, definitely. I know in Baltimore City, we experience high levels of homelessness, students becoming parents, the breadwinners for their home. Those are some barriers. What we've tried to do at Excel, of course, I opened up, I had already had a toddler daycare, and this past school year, I opened up an infant daycare where we serve students who have children from the ages of 6 weeks all the way to 2 years, and then they walk down the hall and go to my daycare that has 2 to 5 year olds. So we really tried to remove the barrier of being a parent. We also provide transportation to and from their homes with their babies. We have a shuttle that picks them up. We partnered with United Way and some other CBO organizations. And so we've really seen an increase in attendance and students really wanting to be at school because the barrier of childcare was removed. We are currently working with other community-based organizations to really focus on the homeless piece. We have several students who are couch surfing and really don't have a place to be. And so really trying to figure out how do we as a school district tackle this issue in condition with working with city organizations to be able to provide resources for those students. So I think that has been an issue since we returned from the pandemic that has skyrocketed, is the homeless issue. And we're doing our best. I say sometimes I feel like I'm a social service agency more so than being a principal, because I'm constantly trying to navigate partners and city agencies to be able to meet our students' needs. So that's just the barrier that we've been experiencing at a really high rate since we returned back from the pandemic.
Thank you for working so hard at that. How about drug use in the schools? Anybody have a comment about that?
I was just going to mention when we're talking about barriers, not specific to drug use among the students, but one of the barriers that we experience is how do we take the culture of our program, which is very positive and a lot of teamwork and students doing well together. How do we extend that into the community? Because I think that's one of our largest barriers, is not necessarily the drug use among the students, but drug use in the community. And it may be parents, it may be just somebody in the neighborhood or a number of people in the neighborhood. But how do we get our culture and climate of positivity beyond this program? I think that's the biggest barrier when students are gone for a weekend, or if they're gone over Thanksgiving break, or whatever the break of time is. You can see a little bit of a setback sometimes among students. So consistency within the community is certainly something we want to work on.
And even just to expand upon that a little bit, one of the barriers is when they do return back to their comprehensive school, especially for those of us who only have students for a short period of time. A lot of those supports they're no longer going to have. They're in a much bigger situation just by the nature of where they are. And I know one of the things that we really concentrate on is developing structures to help them be successful, but also things that they then can internalize. So when they do return back to their comprehensive school, hopefully they can rely on those. But they're going to slip, right? And the comprehensive schools are not built in the same way that we are. And oftentimes the kids, something's happened And there are people who maybe are less than welcoming to them coming back. And even if they're not, the students may feel that they're not welcome coming back, which is sometimes even worse. So that can be a barrier to the student success, not necessarily while they're with us, but in the long term.
I think another barrier might be, sorry about that, John. When you bring up a question like drug use, I don't know that anything is that specific, but there are just a lot of things that the students are dealing with that as we try to help them navigate them, our reach is only so far. And if you want to use the drug use as an example, it's if we have a concern that a student is using something that they shouldn't be using, we'll have the conversation of how do we get them help. It's not, we're not trying to punish, we're not trying to make them feel bad, we're trying to figure out what's wrong, why they would do something like that, what's kind of the trauma that's causing them to do something. But we can only refer out to certain things, and it does require a lot of family or other engagement beyond the school. And I think that's kind of our biggest barrier. Like, I feel like we're allowed to walk to the state line on a lot of things, but once we hit that line, we no longer have that authority. We have that ability, even though we want to. We can't walk them into the therapist's office. We can't walk them, in to follow up on an assessment if we're concerned about them. So, we do as much as we can in our environment to address it. But the barrier is there's sometimes a disconnect on the follow through and outside of where we have reach.
So go ahead, John. I'll go after you.
Oh, okay, thanks. I feel one of the biggest barriers is the social media and the cell phones in the schools. When I started the alternative school 7 years ago, almost every student had his head buried in his phone the entire day, practically. Not only did that distract from learning and create wider achievement gaps, but it also led to fights happening in prearranged places, drug deals, like you said, meeting in the bathroom. We've adopted the Yonder program at our school for the past 4 years. And that in our school now, you don't see a phone ever with the student. If you do, somebody's on it, somebody's, taking care of that. But the end result is more engagement in the classroom. I mean, achievement has gone up, no question about it. Fewer fights, fewer social media things to deal with during the school day. Although it still does happen outside the school, and as soon as they get their phones back in their hands, that starts right back up. But we try to stress to our students, like, a phone is a tool. It is there for social use, but you have to manage it in a way that it's not going to take you away from your goals or get you involved in something that's going to lead to serious repercussions. And unfortunately, the comprehensive schools, they're just with the size, can't really manage them in the way we're doing that. But I feel like, with a lot of our students, they get right back into those drama situations, involving phones or being distracted in class. So I feel like, and I know we all know this and we realize it, and we live it. The phones are, they're pulling these students away from really what's important in the engagement in the classrooms and the building of the relationships, and putting a spotlight on a lot of negativity in their lives that, they just can't escape from. So I wish there was an answer to that. We've had a lot of success managing it in our small environment, but, and I like to think that going forward, the students do think twice about whether they should pull their phone out in class or whether they should pay attention to the teacher, whatever the case may be. But that is definitely something that's hanging up students everywhere in all situations.
I think it's taken a long time for adults in the school system to decide that they needed to provide some parameters to the student behavior. But it's nice to see that schools are starting to respond and limit the use of cell phones.
So one thing that I was going to add to a couple parts of this conversation was Kevin was talking about how we can walk to the state line when it comes to whether it be, I think drug use was the example. One thing that we've done is our health department has put therapists in our schools. So when we fill out a referral, that's pretty much the extent of the school system's access to that therapist. So we set them up. Those meetings take place here at our school. So transportation is not an issue. They don't have to, the parents don't have to try to get them to whether it be for drug use, alcohol, trauma, whatever it may be. They meet with them here at school, and we have seen a wonderful return on investment. And like I said, our health department director is very adamant in having his people in the schools. So they don't report back to us. It's 100% confidential. It's just we're just the house that they get to meet at, and it removes that barrier. So that has been extremely successful for us. The other one of my biggest barriers, because we are an extremely small program, is keeping the connection from my students with their homeschool. That is something that I have been working extremely hard on in the past year and a half, 2 years. And we have implemented some things that seem to be working and seem to be improving that connection to continue. And ultimately what we've seen is an increased success rate on the transition back to their homeschool.
Good.
Similar to what Travis was speaking on in Howard County, we also have peer educators who are housed at our school, who we are able to refer, or we refer students who are dealing with drug issues or drug use. Also, as someone mentioned earlier, I think what is tougher for us is what goes on outside of the schoolhouse, and trying to find a way to lessen the impact inside the school. And of course, to be as blatant and honest as possible, you're dealing with, in most cases, the marijuana that happens before school. Students may come to school smelling like it. So you're dealing with that of a stigma, and unfortunately, for some, it's a drug that's almost like calling them. So then you'll have students who try to find a way to leave in the middle of the school day, because that they're looking for it. They feel like they need it. So I know that's a issue for us, in trying to get them to rewire, rethink. What else can we do? What else can we substitute, if you would, to make it through the school day? Of course, I would love to say make it through life without that, but you just have that where they come to school late. It's already, the odor is there, and you're like, you kind of know what went on that morning. And before the end of the day, you have that same student who's trying to find their way out of the school day, so that they can get back to it. So it's definitely a battle. It's a struggle. Again, we do have a peers group that is housed at our school, which is great for them to have someone to talk to and work with. But a lot of it is being how are we combating the outside of the school day issue, and trying to get on top of that and get ahead of it.
Yes, well put, Mr. Williams. Absolutely. That's what we're dealing with. Exactly as you said, it starts in the morning, in the afternoon. Sometimes they're leaving school just to do it. And our goal is to keep them in the school. And even when they come to school first thing in the morning and you clearly smell it and they do look inebriated, we do invite them in, because we want them to get that education. But then it can be disruptive, right? So that's a big struggle at our school, the drug use. And some of those solutions that you all mentioned, I'll bring, to the school to discuss, because that is a huge barrier for us, hands down.
I agree. the marijuana usage is ridiculous. And we had the Baltimore City Behavioral Health Department placed a substance abuse counselor in our school for that reason. But it's voluntary. And so getting the students to actually go and speak to the counselor, they're like, why? It's from the earth, and it's just like, I get it, right? And I understand. But I also talk to them about how does that help you be focused? And I try to redirect it into more of a positive conversation. And so does my climate team. But that probably is the biggest issue that we in our schools are dealing with. And I'm not even going to say it's just in alternative schools, because I know they deal with it in comprehensive schools as well. And I don't know what the answer, as the more states that make it legal, right? Because that's the first thing they say, is this legal? And then I say, yes, but independent organizations have their own hiring and firing practices. And so when you go on a job interview and they ask you to take a drug test and you say it's illegal, that doesn't work, right? And so trying to have those conversations with them and trying to use different times that we can have those conversations with the students is what we've been trying to do. I don't know how successful we are, but that's what we've been trying to do. So.
Dr. Getty, I'm going to circle back around to my original answer, because I know we kind of got onto a discussion about the marijuana and the drug use, but I use that as an example, and I just want to make sure I clarify. There's just a lot of, and I don't want to lean it towards that as much. I want to lean it towards the we have to help the whole family. And I can use college as an example. There are a number of kids that we can get motivated and prepared for and linked to going to college, but the family is, we can't afford this. No, they're going to go to work. They're not going to be able to do that. And we, like I said, we just feel like we can only go so far, and we've got to help get that family or that outside environment bought in to the things that are going to be helpful to our students as they go out into life after school. So I know I used that drug example, but I didn't want it to really not be the focus, at least of the drugs, which is prevalent across, everywhere, but to really discuss the idea that that barrier is really including that whole family and getting their buy-in and getting their follow through on things.
One of our biggest barriers goes back to one of the things Mr. Williams had talked about, and sort of things that happen outside or before school. And related to the drug conversation as well is attendance. A lot of my students, and sadly, a lot of my middle school students, my 12 and 13-year-old students, are not coming to school because of things that are going on in the home environment. They have parents, there's a drug problem in our community. So parents who are addicts and not caring whether their kid gets up and goes to school. And I shouldn't say not caring, because I think every parent cares at some level for their kid, but because of their addiction is unable to engage with their child in a productive way. And that's a real struggle. And I think during the pandemic, when they were off, a lot of my students, they were using vapes freely because there was no school to go to. And so even outside of marijuana, a lot of my again, middle school students are vaping nicotine and are very addicted to nicotine. It's very hard for them to get through my school day without wanting to hit their vape. And you can see it. It's a physiological reaction that they start having as the hours go on. They're just craving whatever it is that they're used to being able to get to. And to be honest, at times I just wish there was that old smokers corner down the street that I could send them to so they could come back and just, because they want to engage. They're just physically addicted to substances that they cannot get through the day. And so that's one of our barriers in that regard. And just the community issues that are going on right now. I think that the community that we serve at my school, the pandemic laid to bear. We barely had them engaged before the pandemic, and it just sort of, we lost them, and we're having a hard time getting them back,
All right, thank you. I'm going to ask the students the next question. Students typically transition from a homeschool to an alternative education program, receive the additional support, and then return to their home schools. For the students, how do you currently stay connected to your home school? And what can you suggest that would help you feel even more connected so that when you transition back to your home school, you feel a connection? Students?
I recently went to like homecoming and like the homecoming football game, the sports events and stuff. I still go to those.
Do you feel welcome and well received?
Yeah, I still stay like talk to my friends that go to their other schools. I still talk to them and I still connect with them.
Can you think of anything that would help you feel even more connected?
But like probably getting like notifications. I don't know how to say it, but like getting like receiving how to know how to like, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, how to know when there's upcoming events and stuff, like getting that stuff.
That's a great
when the
idea.
activities are upcoming.
Do you plan to return to your home school this year?
And I plan to return next year.
Okay. All right. That's a great idea. Great idea. Anybody else talk about your connectedness to your home school?
Social media.
So you stay in touch with people, and do you attend events and go to them, Jabari?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other student? Sort of the
I
same.
agree with Jabari. I think the only way I still have connections to my school is through social media. I wouldn't know about most of the stuff that's happening at my home school if I didn't have social media.
Do you plan to return to your school this year, Elizabeth?
I'm opt-in, so I'm finishing my year out at Stedham.
Oh, okay. So you're not particularly concerned about staying connected and feeling welcome if you return there, or that's not an issue
So
for you?
I still participate in sports at my home school, so it's still nice to be able to hear from them, but I would have no connection at all if it wasn't for social media. So that does make things difficult at times.
Yep. I hadn't thought about the sports connection.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Heidi.
The reason why I'm so quiet when you ask a question because I don't know like what homeschool is. Like I thought it was like homeschool means like a home or something. So like I don't know what that means.
The school that you came from, the school you would attend if you weren't in your program that you're attending right now.
Oh, well, I would just say that well, I'm not very connected because I don't really like my school that much. But I do connect through like how Elizabeth and Jabari said that, you know, they interact through social media, and I still interact with my deaf community through them, you know, because I would always want to be in contact with my deaf community all the time. And so like that's through the way for it. But other than that, I'm not planning on going back to my home school. I'm planning to stay there because I need to do a lot of work, and so I'm kind of comfortable with my school right now. I really love my staff, my teachers. They have supported me through a lot of things, and I prefer staying there.
Good insight. I like that. All right. The next question is sort of the same for the school leaders. What is needed to help the students successfully transition from the homeschool back from the homeschool into the alternative education and then back again?
Well, my school, Heidi was a little stumped because our program is specifically for overaged and undercredited. So that possibility of going back is really not an option,
Yes.
right? So,
Okay.
yeah. So just a little clarity on that.
Yeah. Just my own personal experience, I taught kindergarten, and every once in a while I would have a behavior issue where the child was taken out of my class and put into a special behavior program. And then after time, they would be put back into my class. And it was always such a difficult transition because they could be in the special behavior program, 3 students, 3 adults. And if the kid even breathed crookedly, you know, somebody would be on them. And then they'd come back into my class, 1 teacher, 24 students, and you couldn't stay on top of the behavior the way they were used to. So there couldn't help but be some slide back into poor behavior simply because there wasn't a transition period of time where somebody could come into this setting and help the student transition. So I really get the idea of needing special strategies for transitioning.
So what has been,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what has been successful for us in Baltimore City Public Schools is we have the Re-Engagement Center. The Re-Engagement Center is the center that houses the transition from the students from their homeschool, as you all stated, we say homeschool, but it means something different, into the alternative schools. And then once they're placed at our school, if the student is 16 and has gained a proper amount of credit, they do have an option to return to their homeschool. However, a lot of times when the students come to Excel Academy and or Achievement, they end up staying. They love us so much. Our environment is so different. They do so well that they stay. And so what we try to do at our schools is to provide them the same type of opportunities that they would get at their homeschool, like prom, like homecoming, like Spirit Week. So the goal is for them to stay with us and then graduate with us with all the support that they get at our schools. And so Heidi, that's why she probably, because they stay with us. So it's a little bit different. Our program, it really doesn't allow our students to go in and out and to transfer back because it causes so much trouble and grief. And so, yeah, what has been successful for us is to have that Re-Engagement Center place students with us, and then also provide social workers and supports that come into the school for those students to help them do well at our school.
I think it's another example of listening to the student and what they need. So I love that.
I would also like to add to what, my apologies. I would also like to add to what Ms. Young said. I attended Carver Vocational Technical High School and I stopped going because of the pandemic. So around September of 2021, I enrolled myself in Excel Academy. And now I see Excel Academy as my home school because every morning I walk through those doors, I get love. The energy is great, it's positive, and I feel welcomed by the staff and the teachers. So there's nothing more that could be done to help me feel more connected to my school because I feel as though that the school that I go to now, we're more than a community, we're like family.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Good job.
Yeah, I'm going to interject, get a word in here. I'm in agreement with a lot of the things my colleagues across the state have said this evening, and I want to thank all the students for coming out tonight and speaking. At the Stevens Center, all students are concurrently enrolled, so they never officially leave their comprehensive school. They're still enrolled there. As far as getting information to and from schools, we do everything we can in a newsletter to provide more information, but not everyone's reading their newsletters all the time. And it's tough to get 7 schools worth of information out to all the kids. The Stevens Center is such a multifaceted situation. We don't only have alternative ed, we have CTE. We house all the teachers that teach all the kids throughout the county virtually. We have night school and extended regular credit. So there's so many different programs running, and we do everything we can to keep all the kids connected to their schools. Kids who aren't placed here in the alternative program still have all the connection to their high schools as far as sports, homecoming, all those other events, and we try to publicize them as much as possible. But as far as, you know, the transitioning them back, the alternative education students, they get assigned for a certain amount of days. And then once their days are done, we have to get them back in. And once they're given to us, quite frankly, some of the schools are like, well, they're yours now, you know, and they pretend they're never coming back. And then when you contact them like within a week, and Elizabeth, who's here in opt-in, she's chosen to stay. And as a new principal in the building, one of the things that has become massively clear to me is how much this staff here cares about the kids that come in and out of this building every day. And it's just amazing to hear the first thing that came out of everyone's mouth here as a new principal to this school and center, is the relationships. And that's one thing I spoke to my boss about earlier. I was like, listen, I'm really going to talk about relationships tonight, because it's just amazing to me. Students who don't have these connections in these larger buildings come here and they have lifelong connections. I have adults wanting to come into the building to talk to their old teachers. So this has been a long time thing coming. And I just am going to take this energy and keep it moving in the right direction.
I agree with you. As a program, that connectedness to the homeschools is easier. We do have our intake meeting and we say, hey, you're a Kent Island High School student, but you're going to take your classes here with us. Your teachers are here, that type of thing. But there is that transition time back full time into the building. That is the part that is hugely important, because that small environment that every one of the students on this call has said has been such a help to them becomes a big environment. They jump right back into the big pond, and the only way that transition can be successful is that the students have developed that relationship with you, that they trust you when you say you have these skills, you have learned how to do this, and then you connect with them as they go back. So it's not a we send you back, it's all right, we are going back, come on. Let's go sit down. Let's talk to your teachers. Let's find out what's going to happen. And when I leave and I come back to Arise Academy, it does not mean that next week someone's still not going to be coming up and saying, hey, how's it going? What's happening? It doesn't mean someone's not going to get on their email and say to you, how's your classes going? Are you doing this type of stuff? So I think the big part of transitioning, and really it is both ways, is that the kids still feel wanted by that home school. And we do have the home schools that reach out, their counselors, the academic deans that talk to the kids, say, how's it going? What's going on? But it's also that connectedness when they go back from us, so that they really see that it is a relationship that is not just for 90 days or just not for the time that you're here. It's a true relationship and we want to see them succeed.
I definitely echo just about everything that I have been hearing. One thing that we do that was not mentioned is we do have part-time students. So those students actually may spend the morning still at their home school in the afternoon with us, or vice versa. So that is something that we started last school year, and it has continued this year to have students that are part-time. So of course, doing the other things, students are still able to play sports at their home school, attend the functions, or ways in which they stay connected. But this new part-time model that we've been doing since last school year has also allowed students to have even more and a deeper connection of still being engaged at their home school.
Two things that we have done here in the past year and a half or so is I have implemented most of our kids are here for 45 days. So about halfway through their time with us, we have a parent-teacher conference, so to speak, but their homeschool teachers are a part of that. Their school counselors from their home schools are a part of that, and their grade level administrator at their home school is a part of that. That has been successful. What has been even more successful is, like I said earlier, our program is extremely small. So when a student is transitioning back to their home school, I get to have a conversation with them, and then they get to pick what staff member from my team goes back to their home school for about a week to 10 days with them. And it's really a fade plan. You know, the first day they're with that kid. They go into the classrooms with them. They're there for lunch. They're there the whole time. And how I sell this to the homeschool is, listen, this kid's coming back. We have a great relationship with them. We know the skills that they're lacking. So when they get in that situation, they can turn to the person that they trust, that they've chosen to come with them, and they can work them through that process. How I sell it to the kids is I say, listen, man, when you go back to your homeschool, we know that you have the scarlet letter on you. I think someone already said if they tap the pencil the wrong way, if they step left instead of right, somebody's there for them, right? So what I tell the students are, listen, you're going to pick somebody that goes with you, and they're your coach. They're your person to say if something does happen and you're in the vicinity, they can't blame you because you're there. What they can do is they're going to talk to this adult and they're going to say, listen, Travis he was in the area, but he had nothing to do with that. So it has been extremely successful, and it fades back, right? So the third through fifth day, they're in the hallways during transitions. Days 8 through 10, so to speak, they're in the building, so to speak. So they start with them, then they fade all the way back where they're just in an office kind of hanging out. And if the student needs them on days 9 and 10, they know where they're at, but they don't necessarily interact with them. And that has been extremely successful.
That's a great idea.
So we've implemented something somewhat similar. We have a 4-day school week. My students don't come in person on Wednesdays. So then all of my staff go out to the home schools. We call it Wednesday work. And they are meeting with students who are on the pathway. We call them on the radar, right? They're having struggles in their home school. They need extra support and coaching. So we develop goals, and my staff go out and help coach, and they're observing, they're in the classroom with kids, they're pulling them out for coaching sessions. And then they also meet with kids who have returned from my school back to the homeschool, and they continue to coach them on their goals and mentor with them. And so far, I mean, we just started that this year, and it's been, I think we're getting a ton of positive feedback. Students are staying longer. Our numbers are pretty low right now because kids are being able to maintain because they have that extra support in their homeschool. And we've developed, the other piece to that is every kid that returns to their homeschool gets a transition plan that includes a discussion around whatever the issue was that caused them to transfer to the alternative setting. And then we try to set up a restorative work plan. Like, who do we need? What barriers do we need to address with people that they're worried about? Like if they had a conflict, we set up a plan to do the restorative work so that isn't a conflict anymore. And that was, I think that's been super helpful, that it's all directed by the student. The student identifies what that is. And then we meet and talk that through with the people that it needs to be talked to. So those two things have been, I think, just game changing for us in Washington County, with that connection, that transition piece to and from our school.
One last question, probably to answer by one person. Lindsay, help me with the question from YouTube. I only saw half of it, but I think the gist of it is, what would the students like to see different in their programs? Is that the question?
Yeah, Charlene Terrell from YouTube wanted to know from the students what they would like to see different or new in the curriculum offered within the program.
Oh, curriculum. Okay, I didn't get that part. All right. Any student, what would you like to see different or new in your curriculum? The things that you're able to learn about and study.
More hands-on creative activities.
Okay, thanks, Heidi. Somebody else was starting to speak.
Yeah, that was me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
Well, I would like to like maybe see in my school like maybe some like probably some things that the homeschool had, like for example a prom, you know, or a team like basketball, because I haven't, from my experience, I have never had a prom myself because I was always scared, shy to go. So I have never went to a prom. I never really got into my basketball phase. So I would really love to have like exactly what she said about, you know, having activities there, you know, some like activities that would be most of us for fun, to stay after school when they're not working, you know, for not to stay at home not all the time. So I would just like say agree with her.
All right, thank you, thank you.
I'll have to get with you, Heidi. We do have a prom, so no worries. We do.
All right, to our participants and those of you viewing on YouTube, State Board and MSD, thank you for joining us tonight for this community conversation on alternative education programs. We want to hear from all Marylanders, so the last thing we ask of you is that you complete the strategic planning survey at marylandpublicschools.org/survey. We will also post a link to that in the chats. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. I would like to say thank you to the school leaders and your dedicated staff. I am so impressed by the deep dedication and the building of the relationships. That is what I hear from the students that is making them successful. And to the students, I thank you for coming forward and having your voice and your opinions being heard from school leaders. I think it's really, really important for them to hear your ideas of how you feel about your own success and your own future. Superintendent Choudhury, would you like to say any closing comments?
No, I just want to say thank you. As I said from the beginning, it's about alternative approaches to ensure student success. That's what this is about. You heard some of the students say, I don't want to go back because they don't do it that way like they do it at this school. And so, and that's what this is about. And so sometimes, you know, it's also about thinking about how our more comprehensive high schools can also differentiate better and such, because every student is unique. And, you know, some of the challenges that you guys spoke about, you know, those are not alternative school challenges. And I want to be very clear about that. Those are challenges in comprehensive high schools, you know, social emotional need, wraparound services, cell phone use, whatever you want to name it. Those are all challenges in comprehensive high schools. I know because I taught in them. And so, you know, at the end of the day, for me to reach those students who had different challenges and experiences, whether it meant being a parent early in life, whether it meant having to work, whether it meant falling behind in an assignment and just getting a second chance, right? These are things we should expect of all of our schools and all of our teachers. And so, you know, for me, I appreciate what you guys shared, but it's also important for me for folks to know that what I heard is you guys want to go to college, you want to play sports, you want to be in clubs, you want to go to prom. This is something we all want, regardless of school type. And it's about designing schools that are built to meet your needs and us to do the greatest things. And my hope with the state board is to make that true in every neighborhood and area in Maryland. And so heard a lot of great things today. And so we look to continue to make that happen through our decision making and policies. And so with that, I wish you guys a great rest of the week. And thank you for making the time. If you have an idea and you forgot to share it, please email us and we'll definitely read it and take it in and take it to heart in our decision making and what we do. You can ask the state board. I did a whole deep dive on alternative schools, and so it's a topic I'm very passionate about. So I appreciate you guys doing a roundtable with us. This is one of more to come. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Superintendent Choudhury. And thank you to the community participants, the students, as well as the educators and the YouTube live viewers. I really enjoyed my evening with you, and I just love that you shared so much. Thank you so much. Good night.